Dimitri Kure is a third-generation leader of Sri Lankan family-run hotel group Jetwing Hotels. With 35 properties across the Emerald Island, Jetwing employs more than 3,000 workers. The country's cost of living crisis has made daily life a struggle for both workers and businesses.
If you compare last March to this March, our cost of food items would have gone up by 2-3 times. And not only that, our electricity bills have gone up by almost 70%. So, and of course, fuel has gone up by more than double as well. Simple things like eggs, for example, egg from about 20 rupees an egg went up to about 55-60 rupees.
Jetwing has adjusted its expenditure to cope with the rising costs. It has stopped all imports of non-essential food products like beef, lamb and some oils.
Wherever possible, we just found alternatives locally and are concentrating on offering the tourists something more Sri Lankan, locally inspired.
While long lines for fuel and other supplies seen at the height of Sri Lanka's economic crisis last year are no longer common, the country has the second highest inflation rate in Asia. In February, overall inflation was over 50%, down from the over 70% recorded in September 2022. Jetwing says it has been forced to transfer higher costs to customers, in part so that it can help its workers cope.
So we as a company in December, so about 3 months ago, across the board increased our salaries by 20% actually. So it's to giving a little leeway.
Jetwing says it's confident that things will get better now that Sri Lanka has negotiated an almost $3 billion bailout with the IMF. The government estimates it will also open the door to up to $7 billion in funding.
It's a catalytic source of funding. So the fact that we are within an IMF program, some of our bilateral creditors to whom we have requested debt restructuring would be more willing to do that, and it's called financial assurances.
But in the shorter term, reforms needed to shore up the country's revenue might cause more pain to people and businesses. In 2021, Sri Lanka's ratio of tax revenue to GDP was 7.5%, one of the lowest in the world. The target by the end of the IMF program in 2026 is to get that number up to about 14%. As part of the agreement with the IMF, energy prices have also been adjusted. Fuel prices have been cut as part of market liberalisation reforms, while electricity prices have gone up after government subsidies were cut. And income taxes have also been raised to up to 36%. For now, the middle class is the most affected, and that has already sparked a brain drain.
If there was a cliche that Sri Lankans are voting with their feet, it is said that 1 million people left the country last year. Maybe not all of them for employment. There was a stampede to get passports. And that has been a coping mechanism.
Despite this, the IMF and the government are confident that the inflation crisis can be tamed soon. The IMF predicts an inflation band of 12 to 18% by the end of the year, while the central bank is more optimistic, predicting a 4% rate. Experts say there are initial signs prices are starting to go down as the currency strengthens. Supplies shortages are also easing as tourists return, replenishing foreign exchange reserves.
And if you look at high-frequency indicators like mobile phone usage, beer consumption, certain other discretionary items, the companies who are in these businesses tell us that there is definitely an uptick, and activity levels, etc., have improved. As long as we don't have another self-goal, own goal, things should start improving in that sector.
rupee overcorrected, over depreciated in the heart of the crisis, and that's fair because so much uncertainty and speculation was created. But once there is a sense that Sri Lanka is now maybe on a pathway to resolve its problems, the depreciation pressures reduce and the rupee can remain very stable. So really the effect of inflation that came in through depreciation goes away.
To ensure Sri Lanka doesn't have to go back to the IMF for an 18th time, experts warn that the funds received must be used to bring about longer-term economic reform.
The long-term fix will come with better design of economic policies, which is a weakness, and the long-term fix will come with addressing the root causes of governance and corruption that keep Sri Lanka's policies badly done.
That's why experts agree that implementation is key, with all eyes on how the IMF funds will be used.
Social welfare is something that I really hope that they start putting the funding into as well. Honestly, at this point, your guess is as good as mine, and I think that sentiment also resonates with a lot of people on the ground in Sri Lanka, where we're nervous to find out if this is going to be that big turning point you asked about, or if it's just going to be another lost opportunity.
While it's early days yet, for Dimitri, the short-term pains are a sacrifice. He hopes other Sri Lankans are willing to endure for a more sustainable future.
You change your lifestyle and try to make changes. And of course, we have to always remember even the IMF money which we are getting it's a loan. It's not a grant. We have to pay it back. So it's just helping us cushion the problem at the moment.